Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In today's lecture, we have to see continuous linear transformation. Okay. In last lecture, we have seen one of the example on quotient space. So today's topic is continuous linear transformation. Okay. So first we have to see the definition of transformation as well as definition of continuous linear transformation. Transformation is nothing but if you take t from one vector space to another vector space, okay, then it's said to be linear transformation. It's said to be linear transformation if we hold two properties, or that is first property x plus y, p of x plus y is equal to p of x plus p of. The second property p of alpha x is equal to alpha into p of x. Okay. If t satisfies these two properties, then t is said to be linear transformation. Okay, where x y belongs to n. So when we say that this transformation is continuous linear transformation, so here definition of continuous linear transformation. Let n and n dash be a non-metric. Let n and n dash be a metric spaces, and m be a mapping of n into n dash. Then f is continuous. F is continuous if and only as xn tends to x in n implies that f of xn tends to f of x in n dash. Okay, here in place of here t we take f. Okay? So in theorem we have given t, that is linear transformation. So it is just mapping. Okay, so we have to use the definition of continuity, and we have to prove these statements. Okay, so we have to give theorem. Let n and n dash be a non-linear spaces, and t be a linear transformation of n and n dash. Then the following conditions on t are equivalent. Okay, that means we have to show there are four conditions. We have to show that are equivalent. Okay, so statement A is t is continuous. Statement B is t is continuous at origin. Okay. Statement C is there is a real number k greater than or equal to 0 with the property that norm of p of x less than or equal to k into norm of x, or x belongs to n. This property means that in shortcut we say that this property is nothing but condition of boundedness. Okay. So third property is if s equal to x such that norm of x greater than or equal to 1, is norm of x less than or equal to 1 is the closed unit sphere in n, then its image p of s is bounded set in n dash. Okay, so we have to show a implies b, b implies a, b implies c, c implies d, c implies b, c implies d, d implies c. Okay, so we have to show all statements are equivalent. Okay, so we start from we have given data. Okay, so given n and n dash are non-linear spaces. We know that the definition of non-linear spaces. So here we have to given n and n dash are non-linear spaces, and t from n to n dash be a linear transformation. Okay, and t from n to n dash be a linear transformation. So we have to show a equivalent to b. That means we have to take this statement first, then we have to show this statement. Okay, so suppose t is continuous, and we have already seen the definition of continuity. So here in place of t, f can replace by t. Okay, so we get definition of continuity. So as a t is continuous, that means t is continuous, you can only xn tends to x in n implies that t of xn tends to t of x in n dash. Okay. If you consider xn tends to x in n, we have to show that is t of xn tends to t of x in n dash. But we have to given that t is continuous. So this condition also hold here. Okay. We have to show this continuity at origin. Okay. We have to show this transformation continuous at origin. So we take here, let x equal to 0 belongs to n. Okay. Then xn tends to 0 in n. And then suppose xn tends to 0 in n. How do we have to show? We have to show t of xn tends to t of 0 in n dash. Okay. So we have already given this condition of continuity are satisfied by this transformation. So we can take from this t of xn tends to t of 0 in n dash. But we know that t of 0 is equal to 0. But we know that t of 0 is equal to 0 because t is linear transformation. So indirectly say that t of xn tends to 0 in n dash. Okay, t of xn tends to 0 in n dash. That means t is continuous at origin. That means t is continuous at origin. Okay. This is the statement first. We have to show t is continuous. Imply that t is continuous at origin. That implies t of xn tends to 0 as in n dash. Since t of 0 equal to 0, as t is a linear transformation. Hence t is continuous. Hence t is continuous at origin. Okay. So our first statement is equivalent to second statement. Okay. So we have to take our corner part of this statement. That means we have to show B implies A. Okay. We have to show B implies A. So what we have to consider? We have to suppose t is continuous at origin. We have to suppose t is continuous at origin. T is continuous at origin. What we have to show? We have to show t is continuous. That means we have to show xn tends to x. If we suppose that xn tends to x in n, what we have to show? Our claim is t of xn. Our claim is t of xn tends to t of x in n dash. Okay, in n dash. That we have to show. So consider this xn tends to x in n. Imply that xn minus x tends to 0. Okay, we take this in left hand side. Okay, xn minus x tends to 0 in n. We take here linear transformation, applying linear transformation on both sides. T of xn minus x tends to t of 0, and t of 0 is 0 in n. Okay, sorry, in n dash. Since we apply here linear transformation, and you know that the property of linear transformation this implies that this is equals to t of xn minus t of x tends to 0 in n dash. Okay, in n dash. So that implies t of xn take it in RHS. So what we get? T of xn tends to t of x in n dash, and that we have to show. Okay, that we have to show t of xn tends to t of x in n dash. Hence Hence, what we consider here, xm tends to x in n, and we get replace that t of x is t of x in x. That means t is continuous. That means that implies t is continuous. Hence here we get b implies a. That means both statements are implies each other. That means both statements are equivalent. Okay. So we have to consider next part. What we have to show? We have to show b implies c. We have to show b implies c. What is the b? B is a. We have to show, suppose b, that is t is a continuous at origin. That means we have to suppose t is continuous at origin. Okay. We have to show t is continuous at origin. Then what do we have to show? We have to show there exists. We have to show there exists. There exists positive integer k such that norm of t of xn tends to norm of t of xn less than or equal to norm of t of x into k. Okay, that we have to show. How to show? So here we know that another definition of continuity. Okay, we know that another definition of continuity. So we have to apply that definition here. We have already seen the definition of epsilon delta. We have already seen the epsilon delta definition. Okay. So what is the epsilon delta definition of continuity? We use here epsilon delta definition of continuity. We use here epsilon delta definition of continuity. Here from epsilon, here we take epsilon equal to 1, which is also greater than 0. There exists delta greater than 0 such that norm of xn minus x less than delta. Okay, implies that norm of t of xn minus t of x less than epsilon, but here epsilon equal to 1. This is the epsilon delta definition of continuity. Okay, so by applying it, we use number 1. Okay, so next what do I have to do? Let we suppose y equal to x upon norm of x. Let y equal to x upon norm of x. Then what do we get? Taking y equal to x upon norm of x into delta by y. This is just adjustment we have to show. Okay, to show we have to just take here adjustment. So we take y equal to x upon norm of x into del by 2. Then what next? We take norm on both sides. We take norm on both sides. What we get? Y is equals to norm of y is equals to norm of x upon norm of x into del by 2. Okay, but here there is greater than 0. That means it is positive real number. Okay, and 1 by 2 is also positive real number. So you can take outside the norm. What we get? And this is also scalar. So we can take all the quantity which are scalar outside the norm. What we get? That is equal to del upon 2 norm of x into norm of x. Norm of x cancel. So norm of y is equal to del by 2. Okay. Norm of y is equal to del by 2. Which is less than del by 2 is always less than del. So what we get implies that norm of y is less than del. Okay, or delta. So here by condition 1, this is one element, okay, it's a minus x. So this element less than delta implies that transformation of this element also less than 1, okay, implies. So here y minus 0, okay, here norm of y minus 0 less than delta implies that norm of t of y is less than 1, okay, norm of t of y is less than 1. We take here imply that norm of t of y is less than 1. But we know that what we take y is nothing but x upon norm of x, okay, that is less than 1. This is a scalar quantity. You know that t is a linear transformation, so we can take scalar quantity here into t of x, that is less than 1. Since t of alpha x is equals to alpha into t of x, here alpha equal to 1 upon norm of x. So this is scalar. We can take here scalar out of the norm. So what we get into norm of t of x, which is less than 1. Okay. So norm of t of x, we can multiply on both sides by norm x. Then what we get? Norm x cancel, and this side norm x. So norm of t of x is less than norm of x. Okay. Sorry. Here del by 2. Here del by 2. So here again del by 2. Here again del by 2. Okay. So in this side 2 upon del. Okay. So